5 on and put these.
All right, today we're on to one of the most important jobs, and that's the auto electrics. And we've got Johnny here from Ignite Auto Electrics. He does all the fast cars in Perth. The absolute legend, Steve Hot Chili Pepper Lundy, is probably the most famous, well, he's the most famous person in my books that gets down to the track. He's also done some of those people that used to be good, like Lawrence Galotto. So anyway, some other guy. But we're putting this thing back together. We've got all the wiring loom that came out of the Tirana, which was done by Mick Buckley. So he had everything all tagged. All the injectors were tagged up, and it made it very easy when we pulled it out of the Tirana to reuse it back in the car. So 75% of everything here is still what Mick done, and we're transferring into the car. And Johnny is just adding on, shortening and lengthening some things that we needed doing, adding on. So we've got some tail lights. We're going to have one tail light on each side, and that's the nice quality of the work, all shrunk down, Deutsch plugs. Because it's a removable body, we just want to clip these plugs off. Got one for each side. They're connected up to the fan. See, he's got a fucking sweet little bracket here that holds the Deutsch plug so that don't drop down and get tangled in nothing. We've got all the wiring up to the switch panel. So you don't want to use P-clips on any of the main roll cage. That's a big no-no. There's no holes to be drilled in the 6 points of the roll cage, X-bars, funny car cage. You can't drill it, cut it, join it. This needs to remain all one piece. No holes, no nothing, so that has to be cable tied. And once again, we've got all the Deutsch plugs up in here. We've got we run a LED interior light, so that's all sitting there ready to be plugged in when we get round to it. And once again, everything's got name tags on it, all numbered, itemised. And he's out to the front, Johnny's out to the front here now, so we've got this beautiful skin flute on there.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Gets all the wiring out to the front of the car. I hope he knows what he's doing here, because there's some serious wires laying around. There's 36 wires alone just for the 18 injectors on the car. So we have 2 per cylinder and 2 sprayers at the front here. So 36 of those wires will be going to the injectors, and then we've got some sensors and stuff around the front of the car, boost sensors, cam sync and magnetic pickup on the front. We just don't touch stuff like this. An EFI car like this needs to be done by a professional, and it's the one thing that we will never tackle ourselves, and we'll just leave it to Johnny. And we know when we go to the line we're going to have no issues, and we're going to be ripping. What a sharp. We still have our line here. No way it can go offline. You'd have to be yanking on to get it offline.
Hell.
Hell yeah, brother. Johnny would have been proud of that.
Yeah, that was
That was sort of his style, yeah. That was his style of gear, yeah. Yeah, that's fucking fucked.
that cap is perfect.
No, well, he's got Steve Aldridge's car back. So he started to do that. don't know about there.
Yep, it's pretty good.
Fire it up.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy. Peel that off. Oh.
Nice work, Johnny.
Yeah, not bad, Johnny. I won't video you, but not bad. Go on, hit it again. Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, Sunday the 25th of August, which is ironically 4 months exactly since we started on this project, and we're heading out today to do the reveal of the car. And Johnny's just finished yesterday, so he was here for 3 days knocking out all this wiring. The 36 wires that we were talking about the other day, they're all beautifully packed away. All the coils are really neatly done. The TPS, it just loops its way around and then hides up in there. So the car is completely wired. All the little extra injectors, they just hide up the throttle cable. So really, apart from the oil pump that we haven't quite finished, that's the only reason we won't be starting it, but we just want to reveal the finished car to you. And then the next couple of weeks, we're going to get that oil pump done. We're going to scale the car. We're going to set up the 4-link, wheel align it. So there's still some interesting content to come, even though we're going to reveal the thing. Around here, and we've got the blowdown tubes on. I think Connor might have touched on those. We've got our charcoal two-tone. That's the thing we've sort of been hiding from you. It's not hiding, but we're going to make it a surprise. So we thought that all green was going to be a little bit too much. So we introduced this, we're wrapped with it. How that's turned out. We've separated with some black pin tape, so that looks killer. Connor's gone and put all the scuff plates on, carbon scuff plates. Troy also made up some little panels to go over the head padding, so there wasn't just aluminium showing. So we had a couple of offcuts of carbon there. He even got to putting a little steering wheel insert. If you go right in on that steering wheel, he's actually made a little carbon piece of there. There's loads of little finishing touches we've been doing. We've put our side mouldings on. Brendo from Hype Visual done this beautiful job on all these side mouldings and everything. We use a few little offcuts of the side moulding as a trimming on our tail lights. We also got a couple little stickers on the back. If anyone's a real aficionado of Corvettes, they would know that these are actually exhaust outlets, but we're not going to have any exhaust up this end, so we just put some lights in there. And we've also put some little LED lights that come on when we flick the cooling fan on for the transmission. Those lights come on. We've got our chutes all packed up, and they've just come up absolutely trick. Our middle exit, they're going to flick out of the way, and the chutes are going to deploy nicely. We've got our tethers that we showed you all through the process. We've got our nice adjustable wicker deal and everything in, so we're going to sling it together and we're going to head out into the bush and get this chute done. Okay guys, absolutely stoked with how everyone responded to the car. I actually thought at least 5 or 10 people would hate it, but it seems everyone loved it, so that's pretty cool. But we had a little bit of a cruisy week after busting our asses for 4 months on the car. But I had a little bit of spare time, so I started playing around with the dragster, checking bearings, and starting to prep this car for the upcoming season as well. So we ripped the sump off this car because this is one of the first cars we've ever had with the dry sump. And we were so wrapped with how good the oil pressure maintained on this car, whether it was in the braking area, whether the oil was hot, whether we were doing fast turnarounds. This car always has 100 pounds of oil pressure, and that's kind of why we were pretty keen to change the Corvette, to dry sump. I'll just show you the difference under here. This is a rocket block, an Oldsmobile rocket block, and it has Buick symmetrical cylinder heads on it. So it's a small block Chev, but like the Corvette, it has symmetrical intake and symmetrical exhaust ports. So it's like a Chevy with LS genes sort of thing. But if you just have a look under here, the block finishes right up and the main caps are fully showing, and we'll go over to the billet motor and you'll notice that the pan rail comes right down past the main caps, and it has side bolts, a lot like a Hemi and a AJ type deal has. The reason I'm showing you that is because we're going to look at the sumps straight after that. Yeah, so on the billet block, as you can see, that's where the main caps are. They finish down about here. So the other block sort of terminates about this area up here, and this has got a full rail coming down, and that's what the side bolts go through. So if you look at the center line of the crankshaft over here, it's got all this block and timing cover and everything hangs well down past the main caps. There's nothing showing, no crankshaft showing. So that's how they support the main caps on a billet engine. So we've got the dragster sump sitting here, and this is the billet engine's sump. So this is the center line of the crankshaft on the dragster motor, where this sump here, the center line of the crankshaft's way up here somewhere because it has that drop down rail. So then the reason I've gone through all this is to show you how much lower that the billet engine sump sits in the car. So the crank center line's up here, this sump finishes up here, this one's way down here. So the reason for that is because the oil is all contained in the sump. So we ran 11 litres of oil in this sump, and this is the windage tray, which all the oil's splashing around, and it cascades over here, and that keeps the oil from getting too aerated. That just trickles off the side instead of smashing into the bottom of the sump. So that was the pickup for the Tirana or the billet engine. It just had the one pickup at the back. Let's move this over a little bit. And then the oil, it was an external oil pump which ran on the belt on the front of the engine, but that's the only place the oil was drawn from. So it has all these trap doors and everything inside. So on acceleration, these trap doors open and the oil rushes to the back and it gets a great supply of oil, well, a good enough supply of oil to the engine. And this has 10 litres of oil in here. It's all running down, it's all getting whipped up, and there's heaps of vacuum, there's all bubbles getting created, and this is where you get cavitation in an oil system. Then on deacceleration, all these trapdoors ram shut. The oil would try and rush to the front of the engine and starve the oil pump of oil. So these trapdoors slam closed and keeps oil at the oil pump. So all this gear now that we've changed to dry sump, all these can be cut out, they can be thrown in the bin, and this sump is going to be reduced in size by at least 50 millimetres. She's going to come right up to here. And another reason we pulled this sump off was to see how this one was set up. This is a JPP, Jenkins Performance Products, one of the good old boys in WA drag racing. And the reason we wanted to have a look at this sump is because it works bloody well, and it's been on the car for 19, 20 years or so. So how Jenks did this sump was he put two 1-inch aluminium tubes right through, and he's drilled holes. Now the oil would run back onto the backboard here and be able to be scavenged beautifully. This middle one has a little backboard on it as well, but the oil can still flow through there. But the good thing is the purpose of this sump now is only to return oil to the tank. There's no pickup in this sump anymore. the supply comes from the 20-litre tank at the front. So instead of having 10 litres in this sump, that's all getting whipped up and messed up. The pure purpose of this sump is just to retrieve the oil and return it to the tank. We're going to have 10 litres more oil in there. It's going to be stable, it's going to be cooler, it's not going to be in the engine anymore. So we've got double the oil, less contamination in the oil, and it's just going to be a lot better setup. So this sump is going to Tony Wood. We're going to get a ton of weight out of it. We're going to reduce the size of it. This car is a 4-stage dry sump, so we're going to have 3 picking up out of this sump when it's modified, and one drawing vacuum from the manifold, where the dragster has 2 here and 1 from the manifold. So yeah, while we had this off, we learnt a lot from what this one's got and how we're going to modify the sump that came off the car. So that's a little 101 on dry sump and wet sump and what the gains we think we're going to get from it.
Wrapping up week 18 on the Corvette build. A bit of a shorter video this week, just because after the whole build, working for 4 months straight, we just wanted to have a few days off and relax sort of thing. So only a few little fiddly things left to do on the car now. A couple of little wiring up the starter motor and fitting up a few little overflow lines for the transmission, stuff like that. So real just tinkering stuff now, which is the fun part. There's no strenuous work or huge building projects going down. Dad's finishing up a bit of maintenance on the dragster. He's got the nose cone all fixed up for a big smash up case he had into the tent, and with the push bar sometimes it pops out and scratches the nose cone. That's been repaired probably 3 times since we've had the car, just because it's just one of the things that just gets beat up to hell on the car. So that's all good now, ready to get some of that Barbados on it. The sump's back on the dragster, all the bearings checked out sweet. 3rd season on a set of bearings. So she's running real safe and conservative and happy, and that's looking to have another good season. So also we've got the engine going to be coming out of the car to get new rods and cranks. So we did say that it was going to be the last time that the engine was going in the car. We were going to flash the car up next week, but we just thought with the new rods coming from Cavanagh Auto Parts, and we got our crank that we waited 4 or 5 months for, they're all here now, ready for the new season. So we're going to chuck them in there before we even flash the motor up. So we had a big crack in the crank for about half the season, last season. So along with not having carbon brakes, we also were babying a cracked crank for half the season. So it was really good to finish the season out in a good way with so many things we're trying to work around. So here it is. Here is the big jewelry piece, the big money piece. It's a beautiful little thing. It is quite little compared to a Hemi crank or something like that. So that's awesome. We got that. Get to do a bit of engine building and stuff the next few weeks. Also for the AAAP or AP rules, you have to submit your body dimensions to Andra so that they approve your body for the class. So here's a little example. This is a door slammer Andra body approval form. So you have to put in the standard dimensions of the car that you're using and then the dimensions of the body that you've got, just to make sure that there's not any over adjusting of the car, so too much roof chop, too skinnying of the front end. But there is minimum widths of the front end that they allow into the class. So all of that's all been measured up and sent off to Scott at Andra. So he's going to check all of that over, and we'll be ready to go for when we go get tech inspected. He'll have all that stuff, and then the tech inspector will go over it again, re-measure all the measurements I've done, confirm them, and we'll be ready to go for the testing and season opener. We've got our shirts, merch design all sorted out and posted on our Facebook page. If you're on the YouTube and you're not on Facebook, go head over to our Facebook page, McClure Motorsport. We post up on there pretty often and try to keep the content coming for the fans. So the shirt design's up there, and we posted up for pre-orders and already got over 60 pre-orders for our shirts. So that's pretty cool. They're going to be ordered in the next couple of days, and yeah, we'll have the shirts within a few weeks, and we'll be starting to flick them out to you guys. So like, share, subscribe, comment, let us know how we're going, and we'll see you next week.